Welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Drake Toll here alongside Kramer Robertson. And Kramer, I know you got a lot to say. I know you got a lot on your mind, especially this last week with your mom, Kim Mulkey, moving from Baylor University to LSU, now moving back home to Louisiana. And that's where I want to start. Home. That word for Kim Mulkey, for you, for your family, what does that mean and how big was that in this decision?
I think that was the main factor. Obviously I had my time at LSU 4 years there. And the reason I left Waco for Baton Rouge was, to get out of the spotlight of Kim Mulkey and to create my own name, my own legacy. But being down there and learning the culture and what Baton Rouge and Louisiana is really like, it really is a special place. And so I understood now and understand now why it means so much to her. And you listen to her say home, and she's going back home to the people, she grew up with and did so much for her. And with a lot of negativity around LSU and Louisiana the last year or so, I think she really feels a responsibility to be a beacon of light for them, just as she was for Baylor in dark times. So definitely going home is the main factor in her decision to leave Baylor.
Kramer, when you think about your baseball games at LSU and your mom coming and being in the stands and folks taking pictures with her and her being, a big show at LSU before she was even an employee for LSU, is that part of this, the way the fan base embraces her?
It could be. I think that even more so than that, she grew up there and she had such a successful high school career, Little League baseball career. So even before I went to LSU, she knew what it was like down there. And then now going back there when I was playing, they absolutely embraced her every day and made her feel loved and welcome because, like we've been saying, that is home and those are her people that she was around her whole life. So I don't know if me being there had any factor in it. I think even if I didn't go to LSU, this still could have happened because this Baton Rouge is 40 minutes from where she grew up and. But I'm sure it didn't hurt, her being around that and seeing those people and them embracing her so much when I was there.
Kramer, I want to go back to Kim's legacy at Baylor because obviously it's historic. 21 seasons in Waco, 3 national championships. I want to take you back and I want to know what you remember from the day that she inked the dotted line, stood on the podium in the Farrell Center and became Baylor's head coach. I know you were young. Do you remember anything about that?
I remember everything about it. I was 5, 6 years old. I remember crying at the end of her bed and when we were still in North Louisiana, begging her not to go. And I just can remember telling me that, this just felt right in her heart. This is where she needs to be. Something's telling her she needs to go there. It's emotional to think back for both of us, for my whole family, because Waco and Baylor was so great to my family, so great to my mom. She built that program from the ground up. So it's difficult to leave something like that. A community that embraced us as one of their own and was so good to us. So I'm grateful for every memory that I had in Waco, the national championships, the highs, the lows, and getting to be by her side. I got to experience a lot of things that a lot of kids didn't get to experience. And the people of Waco and Texas were so good to my mom. And I know she's so grateful for that.
Kramer, when you think back to those moments and then to the national championship in 2005, and there are all the pictures of you with her at the different championships that she won, when did Baylor become home for not just her, but you, the entire family, for a Louisiana girl?
So she's the Louisiana girl, and she'll never get that out of her. She moved to Texas and lived there for 20 years. Well, I'm a Texas boy, and I'm always going to be a Texas boy. Waco's always going to be home to me. That's where I grew up. That's where I made my friendships. That's where I went to high school and did so many things. So Texas is like a second home to her, and Louisiana is like a second home to me. So I'm always going to consider myself a Texas boy. I don't know if there was a certain, time where, the aha where, this is home for me. That's just where I grew up. It's all I know. And I'm proud to be from Texas. And I'll always say that I'm from Texas.
Kramer, with that, I want to stick right there for a second. When you think about Baylor and you being around Baylor for 20 years, 2 decades, what does the university, that name Baylor, what does that mean to you?
It means so much to me. I didn't go to school there, but my mom obviously had all the success in the world there. My sister, that's her alma mater. My brother-in-law, that's his alma mater. So we're always going to be Baylor fans, and we're going to root for Baylor every game that they're not playing LSU now. My mom left that program in great hands. I'm sure they're going to get a great hire, and it's going to be continued success. It might not be exactly what it was, and it may be. Who knows? But it's in great shape. She left that program in a lot better shape than when she got it, and it'll always mean a lot to me. It'll always mean a lot to my mom, and will always be a part of Baylor University, and we'll always be rooting for them.
Kramer, I know there are a lot of Baylor fans that are upset to see your mom go. She's a legend. She's a legend in Waco. Yep. And in my opinion, she built Baylor athletics into what it is today. The success that Baylor is, the brand that it is on a national scale, starts with Kim Mulkey. For you and your family and what you've heard from your mom, does your family still love Baylor University, that same Baylor she came to 2 decades ago?
Absolutely. We still love and will always love Baylor University, and we'll be so grateful for everything that it gave to us. As much as she gave to that university, I'm sure she'll tell you the same thing. She's even more grateful for what it gave back to her and what the people there gave back to her. That's the hardest part about leaving, even to go home to LSU and be in a great program there. And it's going to have to be a little bit of a rebuilding, but it's so difficult to leave something so special and it was so great. But like I said, Baylor University athletics is in a great spot. The basketball team just won a national championship. The football team's back and being great. And there's so many great programs there. We're always going to be thankful, and we're always going to be rooting for Baylor University because we love it. That's home to me.
Kramer, when you think specifically about your mom's legacy that she left at Baylor, what Kim Mulkey means to Baylor, what is that legacy that's still in Waco that has the Mulkey name tied to it?
You're never going to be able to talk about Baylor sports without talking about Kim Mulkey. She's on the Mount Rushmore of Baylor athletics and will always be. Like you said, I don't know what Baylor athletics would be today if she was never there. She not only had such a great program, but she had such a voice in the athletic departments and the academic departments. She graduated every player that played for, that stayed for 4 years. Those things mean so much to her. So I think you'll never be able to talk about Baylor athletics without bringing up Kim Mulkey's name, because she had such a big impact on not only women's basketball, but she had her hand in every sport there. And, I hope that she can do that at my alma mater now at LSU and can be a beacon of light in a time that they need it. Because when she came to Baylor, they needed a beacon of light. There was bad things going on before Scott Drew got there with the men's basketball program, and then he got there and it was a beacon of light. So I just feel like she feels a calling at LSU like she did at Baylor, where they need her, and hopefully she can just have a little bit of the success that she had at Baylor. And if she does, then it'll be a job well done.
Kramer, in your opinion and what you've heard from Kim in your conversations, was there another university in this country that she would have left Baylor for?
Absolutely not. There's not a single university with endless amounts of money that she would have left Baylor for. The only one is LSU because, like we've been saying, we've been using the word home a lot, but it is home. And if you have an opportunity to go to a place that needs you, that really wants you, and it's home for you, that's hard to turn down. But even doing it, I know I talked to her on the phone for many hours, and that was the hardest thing. It was leaving Baylor, leaving such a great university that was so great to her. The people were so great to her, and she was emotional on the phone. The public doesn't see that side of it. They just see her excited and fist pumping at LSU, but it tore her apart to have to leave some of the people in Waco, Texas, and leave Baylor University because of how much it means to her.
Kramer, along with that, those conversations, I saw you tweeted. I mean, it's one of the toughest secrets you've had to ever keep. And when you first started to hear the murmurs, I know a lot of folks didn't think it was real. When did it become a reality for you that Kim Mulkey would be coaching at your alma mater?
When the rumors started flying and the LSU women's basketball head coach had resigned, moved on, obviously I called her and talked to her, and she said that she had not heard anything. And so I didn't think much of it at the time. And then a few days later, she called me late at night before going to bed and said that they had offered her a deal, and they had offered it much more than she ever thought that they could offer. They matched the money and more and some, which that's hard for people to believe, but for her, she's made money. It was not about the money. Yes, they had to match what Baylor did, but that's not the reason she went there. But that's when it became real, is when she told me, hey, they matched the money. I have a decision to make here. We both weighed the pros and cons of it, and it was an emotional conversation. It was difficult. But when she called me that night, probably 5 or 6 days before it was announced that they had offered her and they had come with a strong offer, that's when I was like thinking, wow, this could really happen. And then a couple of days later, she called me and said that she thinks she's going to take it. But she just has to make things right in Waco, and that she needs to talk to her team. She needs to talk to the people that she cares so much about in the community and let them know before it comes out. So I couldn't say anything. And it was a difficult secret for me to keep, because as many relationships as she has in Waco, that's how many I have in Baton Rouge that I'm really close with. And my phone was ringing off the hook, and I couldn't be disrespectful to Baylor, my mom, or LSU and leak the news. But I was obviously excited because it's my alma mater, and I know what LSU is. I know how much she'll mean to that university, just as much as she meant to Baylor University. So it was difficult for me to keep because I was excited, but I was also at the same time torn and emotional, thinking about leaving all the people in Waco and Texas.
Kramer, you talked about the emotions on her end, on Kim's end, and really how she felt about leaving Baylor. What are those things? Where does she revere Baylor? Where does she hold Baylor in her heart still? And in making that move, obviously you said that it made it tough for her. What were some of the things that she warred with when it came to leaving Waco and leaving her legacy that she'd left at Baylor?
The first thing we talked about was her team. You recruit those kids from when they're in high school and they get there, and you feel, and she's such a loyal person. She always has been. So to leave the team that she worked with every day, and the recruits that were coming in, some of them she'd been recruiting since 8th grade. She just torn up over that. That was awful. I'm sure there were tons of tears shed when she told her team and told those recruits. That was the main thing we talked about. And then the people that she had such great relationships with in Waco. I know they're devastated, and she knows that, and that hurts her. But I told her, I said, you've made every decision in your life for my sister, for me. You've put everybody in front of you. It's time to make a decision for Kim Mulkey, and a decision that'll make you happy. And I think going to LSU and being back home to retire, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 8 years, however much longer she does it, she can retire there, be close to her mom, getting older. I think that truly makes her happy to her core.
Kramer, one of the last questions that I have for you, when it comes to this decision, you talked about going home, her being with her own mother, who's aging, and her being able to be near her so much closer, and just every prospect of helping LSU come out of a dark time and her being the light of that. Is there anything that Baylor University could have done in this decision to make it different?
I don't know if that's for me to say. There's always going to be disagreements and things that, she wishes that could have been different. And I don't know if I can speak on exactly what those things are. But at the same time, everything that, every disagreement she had, Baylor gave her so much. Baylor gave her all the resources. Baylor gave her all the money. So I don't think that when it comes down to it, there's anything that they could have done to keep her. She already making a lot of money, a little bit of a salary raise. I don't know if, people say naming the court after her, this and that and the other. Those are all, little things that, might be big to her. But when it comes down to it, I don't think there was any way she's going to turn down retiring in her home state with the people that she grew up with, her mother who's getting older. I think that this was just in her heart to go there, just like it was when she left Louisiana Tech after 20 years of playing and being an assistant coach. And that was extremely difficult on her as well. But look what happened. Look, who knows what would have happened at Baylor University if she didn't do that. And she told me she's just getting that same feeling in her heart that it's just time. The timing is right. The people down there need her. The state needs her. The university needs her. And it's going to be bigger than just winning, because she was bigger than just winning at Baylor University and in Waco, Texas. So I'm hoping that she can do for LSU what she did for Baylor, and that's give people positivity and give people hope and have something for those people to look forward to.
Kramer, when it comes to her move to LSU, I saw the pictures of you guys in Baton Rouge pretty quickly after she landed. And being 20 years at a certain place, walking into the same office for 2 decades, you can lose your spark very easily. Does it feel like she's got a new rejuvenation being back home and around people that she grew up around, the area she grew up around, being at LSU?
I think so. And it's cool to see your mom happy and have that twinkle in her eye when she looks around and sees so many people that she knows, and now they're rooting for her because it's their university. So I could just see the happiness in her face when she was there. When the people she was talking to, walking around campus, seeing everything, it was really neat to see her that bubbly and just genuinely that excited to be home and just to go get crawfish and go get a po' boy. She couldn't wait to tell me yesterday after she threw the first pitch out at the LSU baseball game wearing my jersey. She couldn't wait to call and tell me, like, you're not going to believe it, I'm eating crawfish and having a po' boy. Like, she's just happy. And whether she ever wins a national championship there, whether she ever wins an SEC championship there, that's not going to take away from her happiness. As competitive as she is, she's home, she's happy. And as a child, you love to see that with your mom, especially when you can't be there and be with her. You know that she's in good hands, and you know that she's home and she's happy, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, Kramer, I mean, you mentioned her, but for you to see your mom at your alma mater wearing the purple on the podium, I mean, they're shooting fire out of the cannons as she's walking into the arena. Your emotions. I mean, was there ever a point where you really paused and reflected on how big this is for you personally, her being at your alma mater?
Yeah, it's so full circle. Because those same people that were standing up, giving her a standing ovation, were the same people who were cheering for me and who were so great to me when I was at LSU. So I love getting to share this with her and be a part of it. And now I'm going to be the one in the stands at LSU cheering her on. And it's just cool because when I was there, she could never wear an LSU shirt or say "Go Tigers" or anything like that. She would wear basic yellow shirts with nothing on it. So it is cool to, now I'll get to go to football games and cheer on LSU football with her and do all these things that I got to do, but now I get to have my mom at my side with me. So it means so much to me. It means so much to me that now we can celebrate those big LSU wins together instead of her giving me hell about Alabama always beating us and we can't beat Alabama, because she loves Nick Saban. She's a big Nick Saban fan. So she was always ripping me and giving me a hard time when Alabama football would beat us. So now she's going to get to cheer him on with me.
Wow. Kramer, last question for you here. And I know you talked about full circle, and this kind of applies to both LSU and Baylor. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when Kim Mulkey retires from Louisiana State University, and in that time, will she be able to still put a Baylor shirt on and wear it proudly?
My hope is one day when this is all said and done, whether it's 5 years, 8 years, I don't know how much longer she wants to do it. I really don't. My hope is she'll be invited back into Waco and they'll have a ceremony, something where her name will hang in the rafters, because that's what she built there. And that's what she deserves there. And I know that she would do that with open arms, because she loves Baylor University and will always love Baylor University and be thankful. So I'm hoping that, one day she can be in the LSU Hall of Fame. She's already in the Baylor Hall of Fame, but I think it'd be pretty neat one day after it's all said and done, like Peyton Manning going back to the Colts or Tom Brady back to the Patriots. I think it'd be really cool to have her back in Waco one day, because I know how much it means to her, and we definitely know how much she means to Baylor University and the Waco community. So that's my hope for both sides one day, to reunite.
I love it. Kramer, thanks so much for joining us on the show today. Pleasure to get your perspective. And I think I speak on behalf of all of Baylor Nation and know that it means a lot to understand that you, your mom, your entire family still revere Baylor as a place that means so much to each of you. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll always be special to us. And I can't say it enough how grateful we really are for Baylor University and the people of Waco.
Well, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're talking more Baylor women's basketball. This is Up Tempo.